Hi, welcome. It's been a minute since I've done a full reading at home. Guess who's with us again? Agador. He is a desk cat. First of all, it's been a while. It's been, I think, a month to the day that I've done a reading. So, like a full one. And I think I have everything on. Can you hear me? Okay. So, I was just finishing a hot flash. The cat's up here. I don't know what's going on. My eardrum feels weird. So let's get started. Maybe that's the energy that's happening. We'll see what shows up. Thanks for being here. Okay, so he has a mind of his own, and I keep putting him on the floor, and he jumps back up. On the floor, jumps back up. So we'll just let him get bored. Okay. Oh, see? He can read a room. Okay, so let's see what kind of, oops, my little hands. Sorry, there's all this Agador fur now. What spread do we want to do? Okay. Okay. We have the Queen of... that energy is here. Queen of Wands. Sorry, can't see. Challenged by the Nine of Wands. I don't know where I want to hold these. See, I'm out of practice. The Queen of Wands, challenged by the Nine of Wands. There's something about this resiliency, or this, resiliency. It's like when you go through hard things and you come out like fortified. You might not feel stronger. You might still be in that state that says, man, this was hard. But it builds some resiliency and some like self-belief, self-empowerment, let's call it that. But there's something here about how might that that belief, maybe it's not a belief, but that feeling that, oh my God, are we there yet? I've been through some hard things, and I know that it's all in the name of like, I can do hard things, and it will make me stronger than I felt anyway, going into this thing. But how might that also, there's something here about, don't identify with that I guess don't attach to that identity too much. Does that make sense? There's sort of like this balance that seems to be wanting, I don't know why I'm saying that, but there's like that's what I'm feeling. The balance of, okay, I can do hard things. I'm going through something. I'm going to come out the other side stronger than I was before. And then drop it. It's like it wants to be dropped, not identify with the not to adopt that identity that says I can do anything, and like to take it on as an identity. Because that could slip into, how when you, sorry, there's so much going on, and I'm trying to like sum it up. When it might be the martyr complex kind of thing, or the like, I can take on anything. I have all of the capacity to take it on for everybody. Like, you guys can lean on me, is kind of the vibe. And so it's like, wait a minute. Why is that important to you to be seen that way? And you may genuinely want to help people, but it's almost like an identity thing that's asking to be looked at. So let's see what comes up with the rest of the cards and see if that's the vibe. Okay, so we have the Six of Cups, the King of Pentacles, and the Hierophant. there is something here about wanting to be seen as the one with all the answers. Okay, so I think we were a little bit on track there. I'm going to set these aside. I wonder why I stopped with 3. Whew, it's chilly down here. So the 6 of Cups, it almost seems like if how we got here to be seen as that, the one that has all the answers, it's like this is saying it goes back, like we're going to trace the story back to something in childhood that this is coming from. So that's asking you to look into that. Like what in your history made it so that like you derived your sense of self-worth from the person who could take it all on, right? Was that praised? Because that could just be conditioning, was that praised? That it's like, oh wow, you have the ability to do so much, like to be the doer, to be the one, like the strong one. And it's like, but were you ever allowed to just be the vulnerable one? Was vulnerability kind of poo-pooed, mocked, shut down, seen as weak, So that maybe look into that. And then the King of Pentacles is like, it's like on that trajectory. It's like, oh, I can do anything. It's like there's been a progression that led to this, like everyone in my life can depend on me. I've got it all together. I know exactly what needs to be done. I know what everyone needs. It's like the king has that like leadership role over his land, right? So he assumes the leadership role and says, yeah, you can, I have it all under control, people. Don't you worry. But then that slips into like the one that wants to be seen as that. So it becomes this identity. And then people can come to me with all the answers, like for all the answers. And it's like, wait a minute, I don't have all the answers. But I make people think I do and that they can rely on me. So this idea of like self-reliance is one thing. And then it slips into like, oh, everyone can rely on me. It's like, wait, what are we being asked to look at here? So I've been wanting, these kept calling to me. So let's get some clarifications and see what we're being asked to really question. But where's that showing up in your life where you feel like, yeah, I have assumed that role? And you might say, well, no one else was stepping up. Sometimes that can slip into like, well, if I don't do it, nobody will. That old thing. So let's see. Okay, we have the 4 of Cups. My throat just gurgled. The 7 of Cups. And the King of Wands. That's interesting. So, I know I always say that. The 4, right here in the heart of the clarification, we have this 7 of Cups. This almost feels like emotional kind of like, I want to say dilution for some reason. It's like things were, like there were maybe in the past a lot of emotional confusion, like, I don't know what these people want from me. When you're young and you're like, what is the right answer here? What is expected of me? And then you go on this emotional roller coaster where you try to please everyone. Oh, I just got all the chills. Does that feel true? Like maybe that's the source of the wound, is like, I'm just trying to be a good child, right? That pleases my parents. And I can't tell what the right answer is or what they want from me, because what they're praising me for is not, it doesn't feel natural. It does, like, especially if it's like, oh, you can do so much, you can take on so much, or, it's almost like you as the child are becoming the caregiver, the caregiver for your parents in some emotional sense. So where did you assume that role? It may be younger age than you would have liked. And the 4 of Cups is like saying, well, it's almost like there's this turning away from your own needs in service maybe of others. So there's I can't pay attention to what I want because it's not important, right? Because maybe it wasn't valued, or you didn't perceive that as being valued when you were young. So through life, did that happen to you where you're like, no, my needs aren't as important. I'm going to take care of everyone else's needs first. And then we have the King of Wands, which that's kind of where it feels like this burnout kind of energy. If you're constantly taking care of others 100% and 0% yourself, that's just going to lead to burnout, right? Like, when are you replenishing? So there's this burnout kind of energy that either has happened in your life, or this is a warning to say, hey, look at this. You know, it's finally time to look at this before you reach that burnout state. Because burnout, it feels like it's kind of one of those whispers. Like, you can kind of sense it coming and building, because this is like fire energy. You can sense that, like, oh, a flame has been lit. Oh my God, that fire is building. And all of a sudden it might just like whoosh, burn you up. Yeah. And then there's this exploding, and then like chaos, and the ways that burnout plays out, you know. I think we've talked about this before. So I want a happy ending though. This feels like, ooh, dun dun dun, we better look at this, because that is not a place I want to go. Now, if you've reached burnout and you're like, yeah, that's kind of a repeating theme in my life, of feeling like I have to do it all myself or be the strong one for other people, because that was where I derived a sense of self-worth from a young age. That's what was praised. That's how I was conditioned. Like, why is it not okay to be the one to ask for help? Why is that not okay? Why do I feel like it's not okay? Because this is all about feelings. There's a lot of cup energy here. Yeah, there's actually a lot of wand energy too. So it's like water and fire, you know, that delicate balance of like, too much water puts out your fire, right? So if it's too emotional, you just like, then it's like the Four of Cups. It's just like, I can't muster up the energy anymore, you know, to deal. It's like apathy, you know, it's like whoosh. And then too much fire, and then the water, or like there's just steam, right? When you mix water and fire and there's too much fire, it feels like, psh, then that's a different kind of burnout. Both of them feel like burnout energy, like some where you want that, like, ooh, the fire energy within us. You want a light to be lit, like you care about things deeply and you want to keep caring. And then you have the water energy, the cup energy, where you're like, you want to keep loving. And then if both of those are out of balance at any point, then it's just like burnout city. That's what this feels like. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it, but I want a happy ending. I want to know where we're going from here. Let's assume you're going to, like me too, because this is a theme in my life. It has been. So I think about it a lot of like, what's that delicate balance of, you know, not like, because I know I had a tendency to burn out. I've had many bouts of burnout. So I know what it feels like, and I know what that building up kind of feeling is. So it's like, those are the whispers. And so, but I want to know what happens. Where are we going? I want a kind of a silver lining, not necessarily a happy ending, but a silver lining. So I'm looking at my cards. I kind of want to pull the Spirit Song Tarot, because it's a beautiful energy in this deck. Dun, 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 dun. And let's see. Let's assume we're really taking a look at this old wound of laundry's done, of when that's how I was conditioned. Let's just call it that. Maybe it wasn't a wound per se. We don't have to get all dramatic, but it was the way I was conditioned. My self-worth was conditioned in that way. So let's see, when we look at that, where can we expect to go from here? Oh, nope, it wants me to do that. So we have the Chariot, the Knight of Crystals, which I think are Pentacles, and the Two of Wands. Okay, so I'm going to read these words because I kind of like them. This deck has words on them. So let's just say in the heart of the clarification is the Knight of Pentacles. So it says endurance and determination. And to me, that feels like that middle path. Here we have Pentacles, that very grounded energy. So it's not all fire, it's not all water. It's like whoosh. It's like it's action oriented, meaning I'm going to keep, like, it's like a steady pace, steady energy. There's not this like, oh, I got to do it all, and then getting like all maybe resentful about it, or not taking on the martyr role. It's just very like, I'm going to do what I feel in the moment, step by step, consistently, and slow and steady wins the race, they say with the Knight of Pentacles. So it says endurance and determination. So that seems like what we're being called to look at, instead of this like dramatic swing to the extremes where we experience burnout. Knight of Pentacles is literally like the middle path, the extreme, like one step at a time. And so with whatever situation this is for you, this is asking like, where can you have some moderation in your particular journey with this? Now, moderation might not seem like fun if we're used to the extremes, where maybe we go to the extremes because it's more exciting. It just feels, but then we're asked the question like, why is that considered exciting? Or is that just a thought, that we can let go of? So in the two ends here, you can't see. I'm sorry. I'm going to move these up. I tried to get a better camera for the overhead. Like, that's my goal this year, and it looks like I'm going to have to spend money, and I don't want to spend money. We should have like weird gadgets around here. I don't know why I'm telling you that. But yeah, maybe someday I'll have a bigger desktop again. So then on the both sides we have the Chariot and the Two of Wands. These words say discipline and determination. Both of these say determination, and that is wild. These are probably the only two cards in that whole deck that have that word on them. So I think that's kind of like, pay attention to that. Like, what are we determined to do? Like, where is this determination showing up? Because I feel like determination is that like a focus that's being kept in a very steady way, versus like, oh, look over here, and look, like where extremism comes into play. Determination feels like slow and steady focus, discipline. And then we have the Two of Wands, which says insight and focus. Now the Two of Wands is it's fire energy, but it's a two. So it's not like whoosh. It's like that gentle whisper that says, sometimes I'll say like, you're being called out of your comfort zone. And so is this middle path kind of like, it's something here feels like it's not exciting to you? I mean, I felt that in my life. Like, that's kind of boring to just be measured and consistent and determined. It's like, wait a minute, who says that has to be boring? Why can't it be exciting to see what happens every day when I show up? Take a step, show up, take a step. So it almost feels like what are we talking about here? This is for whatever your situation is with, why do you feel like you have to be the one with the world on your shoulders? When it's like, wait a minute, you also don't have to be the one to just check out, right? The apathy, the exhaustion. This is like, why can't you be the one that shows up for people and says, I'm here for you, but you don't have to take their pain, take the weight on, let them do hard things too. Let them build resiliency. Let them show you they can. That's a gift, isn't it, for people? So do you have that going on in your life? It could be your partner, it could be kids, could be parents, could be friends. Where do you feel like, man, I do everything for people and they expect that from me? And are you taking on that identity like for some reason that just needs to be looked at, like old conditioning? And it's like, maybe people don't want that from you. That's just maybe your perception. And then if you just step back a moment and say, hey, here's your opportunity, but I'm here for you in case, like, to catch you, I won't let you fall, but I'm not going to do everything. I'm not going to take the weight of your world onto my shoulders. But I'm here with you in that. So that's what's showing up here. So there is a little bit of a silver lining, I think, is that it's like, to me, that giving people the opportunity to stumble, knowing that you'll still reach out and catch them, right? You're not going to let anything bad happen to people. Now, this is all kind of vague in words. It might just seem too lofty, but where is a little bit of this showing up in your life? I feel like, well, for me, I think it's my parents, like my mom, and I've talked about her so much. Sorry, but that's showing up for me with her, is like this. Now that she's getting stronger, it's like being the cheerleader with her instead of doing everything for her, or even taking on her emotional weight. Sitting with her and saying, yeah, it is hard, isn't it? Getting older, having less mobility. I'm not saying those words, but I'm like being with her while she's really kind of gotten depressed once in a while about it. Like, oh, how'd I end up here? And without rushing to rescue her emotions. So that's what's coming to me for my situation. Where do you feel like this has been happening for you? And where can you be with instead of taking on the world? So best of luck. Bye.